Hello and welcome to CypherDocs. So what is CypherDocs? CypherDocs is basically a peer-to-peer document editing collaboration tool, or in other words, Google Docs without the server. So what are the two things that CypherDocs really does well is, so like Google Docs, it uploads the documents to Swarm, or in Google Docs it would be the cloud, but essentially the same thing. When it uploads to Swarm, it encrypts it using Nucypher. So only you and whoever you grant can actually view the document. But that's not really how the app is supposed to be used. More so, it uses Nucypher to encrypt WebRTC connection using a handshake protocol that I designed. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to get this thing running. So basically, grab my Nucypher fork, which is this repo, and then install it. We're just going to run it now. Okay, and then clone this repo, so this the one I'm looking at right now, and then start the peer server. The peer server is just that stun turn signaling server that you can, so that peers can actually find each other. You can read more about it in this link, which tells you all about it. But basically, you're going to go into your server folder in my repo. So there's a server folder over here. And then just do npm install and npm run start. The peer-to-peer connection also requires a secure connection. So you just download nrock, which is something that exposes something like a local server like localhost 666 on your computer as an HTTPS address. You can just do this. And then this maps to your localhost basically. And now in your client folder you have an environment.example file. Copy it and then save it as .env, and then basically just replace this top link with this. Okay, and then you can go into the client folder and then start up the web server. Takes a little bit. There we go. So CypherDocs, the trustless peer-to-peer documentation collaboration tool. So there's two characters you can play as. You can play as Alice, which is the person who creates the documents and shares with people. You can play as Bob, who's just the guy who's joining your session and editing a document. So we can try as Alice. So let's just follow the instructions. You're Alice. You can create documents and share with people. We can only use this fork of Nucypher. So first, we'll just create a persistent Alice profile. Okay. And enter password. Just so you know, it has to be 16 letters. Okay, and then paste this command. Oops. Oops, wrong password. Okay, Alice is running, so then click test, and test as everyone knows is running. Cool, it is. Do you want to edit existing document? We'll say no for now, since this is the first document we're creating. So now we just fire up Enrico, which is our encrypting node. Do this. Cool, it's running. Test, nice. And now I'm going to fire up a fake Bob. So Bob is only attached to Alice right now because Alice cannot encrypt her own stuff, which is pretty strange, but that's how it works. So Bob is really just here so Alice can encrypt her own stuff. So do this. So we're going to create a new Bob profile here, basically, just like we did with Alice. And then we're going to run it also on a different port so we don't screw up the regular Bob port. Okay, now we're good to go. So, test. Boom. So now it has uploaded like a sample document to Swarm, and now it's trying to load it. So while we wait for this, let's open up another document, and we'll try as Bob. So this is like the actual Bob, not the fake Bob, but the real Bob. So this is the person who's going to try and join your session. Yep, password. So the reason why this document is loading things so long is because this is like the first time you're uploading to Swarm, which is a peer-to-peer network, so it takes some time to actually propagate. And it's always going to take very long, actually, because when you make a change, you have to wait for it to propagate to all the nodes, and then sometimes when you fetch, you're going to either get a 404 or you might get an older document. So you often have to fetch multiple times, hash the content you get, which is what I'm doing, and then kind of just do like a map that has a counter with those hashes. And if this hash exceeds the counter of, say, like 5 or 7, so if you get this document like 5 or 7 times, you know it's probably the most updated one. So this is basically the default document. Hello Alice, you can start editing your document now. Feel free to share with other Bobs. You can also look at the document on Swarm here. So view the document on Swarm. So you can see how it's also loading here. It's kind of random whenever it's like loading. Oh, there it is. So yeah, this is basically the default document, which is just encrypted by Nucypher. And it's not like, it is also like the representation that only my application understands, so it's not just like this encrypted here. It's a bit different, but yeah. So now, so we're at Bob. I think I started the node. No, I didn't. So run the second line. Do this. Password. Okay. Test. So now I'm going to actually split the screen. So the right side will be Bob, and the left side will be Alice. So this part is actually going to be very important. So here I'm going to show actually the it's going to show the protocol, or the kind of like handshake using Nucypher between Bob and Alice. So I'm just going to show you guys here. Okay, so to share this document, basically click share, copy this ID and basically send it on like some chat service Discord to Bob, and he can just paste it here. So let's do it. Connect into Alice, incoming connection. So this is Bob's basically identity. I say yes, please join, and okay. Ooh. Did it take too long? Okay, something went wrong. Let's try that again. Share. Okay, so basically something went wrong, but there was a handshake that happened, and then I currently have the grant duration to last 60 seconds. So what's happening is I'll explain from the start. So first, actually, let's see if we can actually just edit a document together. We can. So I'm typing from Alice to Bob, and then Bob also edits and types back to me. So I'm gonna wait. So basically, what happens is when Bob tries to connect to Alice, and then Alex sends Bob a crypto random bytes token. So actually, let's find it. So basically, Alice sends Bob random, like cryptographic random bytes, base 64 encoded, and then takes this token and encrypts it using Enrico, and then sends it over to Bob. Okay, and then Bob gets the encrypted token, and then tries to decrypt it. If he can't, then he goes and asks Alice, hey, can I join you? Because that means Bob is not authorized as a peer, right? So Bob asks Alice, and then Alice gets that notification saying, hey, do you want to authenticate Bob to join? If Alice says yes, then Alice grants Bob access and sends over the stuff that she needs to encrypt. And then Bob will try to do the handshake again, and since he can decrypt this time, Bob gets authenticated. So now you might be wondering, why do you see those messages jump back and forth? Or like, why is Bob trying to authenticate multiple times? Basically what I have is, over here I have the grant duration in seconds is 60, and the request authentication interval in seconds is 10. So basically, Alice will send that token over to Bob every, say, 10 seconds. And then if Bob can't decrypt, then Bob will ask Alice, hey, can I have access again? So you can set this whatever you want. I think I have it by default as 310, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave it like this. So I'm going to show you what happens when, so I should still be able to edit the document together, because I kept re-authenticating Bob, but so the grant lasts, so now I'm getting this thing again in connection because his grant expires. So I can say cancel, and it's actually going to kick Bob out, and then Bob, to get back in, I have to share it with him again, and then yes, accept incoming connection. Oh, something's a bit messed up. I think it's because I have it very frequently, which is why. Let me try this again. So yeah, it's a bit buggy, but it works. Connect to Alice, yes. Okay, I'm in. I'm not getting kicked out, cool. So basically, what's cool about this, since Bob's grant has lasted 60 seconds in this case, I can just refresh the page and then rejoin without having to ask Alice for the grant, because my grant is it's still in my grant duration, right? So I can rejoin this document as many times as I want, so long as my grant still works. But as soon as it crosses this 60 seconds, the grant will expire, and then I'll have to ask Alice to re-authenticate me again, basically. So that's, we can kind of have a look here at how it works. So the first thing we'll do is send an identity, which basically says like who I am, and then Alice, right now it's just being flooded by like documents being saved. So and then Alice responds, and then I think we get, so this is probably, yeah, Alice verifying key, the encrypted token that I have to decrypt, and then the label and such. And then when I decrypt the token, I think that, so basically you decrypt the token, send it back to Alice, and Alice realizes, okay, yeah, that's the correct token, and then you're authenticated. That's essentially how it works. You can also just kick Bob, but this is also kind of buggy. So that's that. I do want to share a bit more about how this interacts with Swarm. So if I make a bunch of changes, so say I want to, reuse this document again. So I can view my credentials here, and this is my document identifier and my Swarm private key. So, oops. I'll just paste this here so I can remember it easily. Okay, and now let's get out here. So you go back to the main page, So say I've closed this thing. It's like 2 days later. I wanna add in my document again. So I can go back, try as Alice again, click test, and then now I'm going to say yes, I do want to add an existing document. It's going to take my document identifier here. So if I get rid of this, actually, so it's private key document identifier. So document identifier here, private key here. Okay. And notice that, so every time you create a new document, this will actually be different, this policy encrypting key, but it's going to be the same because I'm editing the same document, so I don't have to run Enrico again. And yeah, cool. So now my document is loading. It's trying to fetch it from Swarm. So we look at so this retrieval counts is basically counting the hashes of like what documents I'm basically doing a GET request on, and it's just going to choose the, like, if this error passes 7, then it's going to think that, okay, yeah, this is probably the most updated document. But this does usually take some time to fetch the correct document. Because like you could just fetch once and you might get an older document, which is probably not what you want. Okay. So yeah, so this is just being flared, like try fetch document from Swarm. So generally, the best case scenario is you edit a document and then you stop editing and you kind of just go away, and then those changes are going to persist through the network, and then when you come back, it's just probably going to load like instantly. Usually. There it is. So yeah, that is basically how this thing works. If you want to get more into the technical side of things, how the protocol works, how the document interacts on Swarm, I'm going to write a technical specification kind of document here. It's also due in like 2 hours, but I'll get it done, and then you guys can read that just so you can have a better in-depth understanding of it. And that's it. Thank you. See ya.